Studio Players present Frankenstein, directed by Troy Pepper. We, the cast and crew, have been waiting for you. Please turn off your cellular phones and other electronic equipment. You won't need them here. There will be a 10-minute intermission and a 50-50 raffle drawing. If you need to escape, there are emergency exits on both sides of the theater and stage. Thank you for coming. Sit back, relax, if you can, and enjoy the show.
It's not important what you do or you don't understand.
Police everywhere. The garden, the shore of the lake.
Well, we've searched the house thoroughly.
Yes, but why?
You ask a great many questions, Sophie.
Well, I've earned that right.
Are you sure that there's no other room or area of the chateau where anyone might hide? Or anything?
What thing?
One question at a time.
I've been housekeeper here for many years, and I've never heard of nor seen any other area of the chateau.
Well, they say he's afraid of gunfire.
Who? Frankenstein?
No, not him.
Victor, what are you doing?
Only what tradition expects of me.
They're back.
Come on, let's give him a few moments of sanity.
Sanity?
Just do as I tell you.
No reception, no guests, police everywhere. Not my idea of a wedding night.
Victor, put me down. I'm out of breath.
Should I ring for Sophie?
What on earth for?
I thought you might like something to eat or drink.
No, nothing. Victor, now that we're married, won't you tell me what's been troubling you? You've been so distraught. When I speak, I know you don't hear what I say, but when I look at you, I feel that your thoughts are elsewhere.
Forgive me, Elizabeth. I have so much to be forgiven for.
Victor, you don't regret marrying me.
No. I'm afraid.
Afraid of what? Victor, you must tell me. You've lived these past months with some terrible private dread. I want to make you happy. I am Frau Frankenstein, wife to the brilliant young scientist. Whatever troubles you must trouble me. Beg you, Victor, take me to your confidence.
Tonight, this very night, the man who will kill me will come through those doors.
What are you saying?
I know it sounds incredible, monstrous. All the same, it's true.
But who would want to kill you? Why?
I ask only that you remember your love for me when you hear my words.
Go on.
Do you remember when I returned from the University at Ingolstadt?
Of course, you were in such poor health. We were all so worried for you.
I didn't want to return. I wanted to find some icy glacier and set a funeral pyre. If not for myself, then for my deeds. I hadn't slept in days. My brain was on fire. I was consumed by guilt and fear, and that private dread you speak of.
Victor? Victor, are you in there? Victor? There you are.
How are you, Henry?
The question is, how are you?
Constant. My temper is almost violent. My moods vary from deep depression to melancholia.
Oh, come, Victor. You're away from your gloomy university. What could be more pleasant than a holiday on the shores of Lake Geneva in one own chateau?
Holiday? Don't call it something else. A retreat, a sanctuary, anything but a holiday. I do appreciate your good spirits, Henry. Oh, I know you're just trying to cheer me up. It can't be much fun for anyone having me about like this.
Oh, you've had a slight breakdown. It's understandable, considering the way you drive yourself. For a young man, you take life far too seriously.
Life is serious. What one does with that life even more so.
Have it your way, but there's no need to be pompous. Perhaps this will cheer you up. It's a new thesis in biochemistry.
That's your field, not mine.
But this is the work of Albertus Magnus. Natural philosophy and chemical persuasion. The book is quite fascinating, and Magnus is your favorite professor.
He was.
You ought to read it. You haven't already purchased it?
No.
Good.
Peculiar you should mention his name.
How so?
I'm just finishing a letter to him.
Indeed.
I'm informing him I do not intend to return to Ingolstadt.
You mean until you've regained your health?
I mean, never.
Victor, is this because of your brother?
I confess, William's murder is not a thing I accept easily. To live only 10 years while life holds so much promise, and then die at the hands of some unknown killer just seems to me the height of cosmic cruelty.
Cosmic cruelty. The lad was killed for an expensive gold cross. Obviously by a thief of the lowest kind. Vicious and unfeeling. A monster.
Victor, may I come in?
That's my mother. Please make no mention of William, as she holds up extremely well.
I understand.
One moment, Mother. I'll unlock the door.
Henry, how wonderful you to be here.
Always a pleasure, Frau Frankenstein.
I can't tell you what your visits mean to Victor. You, his best friend, have never deserted him.
Boys together, friends together, comrades always.
Did you hear that, Victor?
Oh, I've never doubted Henry's friendship, as I hope he'll never doubt mine.
I hope you can persuade him to get out and about. All my son does is lock himself in the study. The sound of another human voice would give him pain.
You exaggerate, Mother.
No, I don't. He never rests. Sophie is at her wit's end trying to think of something to tease his appetite. Elizabeth has become his very devoted nurse, and I'm afraid that my son is a very bad patient. I worry about you. The doctor said
The doctor!
you shouldn't scoff like that, Victor. You're a scientific man yourself.
Mother, there is a world of difference between a doctor and a scientific man.
Well, if there is, I don't know the difference. All I mean is that you shouldn't insult him with your indifference. He only has your best interest at heart. You can't continue like this. You need to eat, rest.
Stop it, Mother.
And where's Elizabeth this fine day?
She is at the flower market. I believe she could spend her entire life there. She was like that as a child. She could tell you the name of every single flower that grew. And Victor would take a flower apart, show you the inside, and tell you how it grew.
Sounds like the ideal combination, the pragmatic and the romantic.
That's very good, Henry. Very good indeed.
Excuse me, Frau Frankenstein?
Sophie.
It's Ernst Hessler.
I'll see him outside.
No. Here, Sophie.
Oh, perhaps I should leave?
Nonsense. I'm sure that it's just something about the investigation.
Mother, I don't think you should see him. You know how upset you get.
Victor, it's you that gets upset.
Inspector General Hessler.
I'm sorry to intrude, Frau Frankenstein.
You are always welcome in my home. And you know Henry, our neighbor.
Herr Clavel? Victor?
You'll stay for tea.
I'm afraid not.
Then this is a professional visit.
Yes.
Something to do with William's murder? Henry's a good and trusted friend. You may speak freely in front of him.
As you wish. We've found William's cross.
Who had it?
A girl by the name of Justine tried to sell it in Geneva. Fortunately for her, the buyer was one of our informants.
A girl?
Oh, a bad sort. She travels with horse dealers, gypsies. Her kind would slit your throat for a tablespoon.
Please.
Oh, an unfortunate choice of words. Forgive me.
And there can be no mistake.
They were camped on the shore of the lake the day of William's murder. We know that your brother visited the encampment. He was seen there. It's a popular spot for the local boys. The girl was observed talking to him and admiring the cross at his neck. And the night of the murder, they struck camp and moved on.
Hardly seems sufficient to prove this girl guilty.
She has a record. We have her on file.
Has she confessed?
Oh, far from it. She denies any knowledge of the crime.
Well, if that is so, how can you be so positive?
Because of the absurd story she offered to cover her deed.
What story?
She claims that a man gave her the cross.
Is that so extraordinary?
This man was no ordinary mortal. He was large and stitched together like a rag doll.
What?
She had the impudence to offer that myth to me. I mean, I thought I had heard them all, but a large man stitched together, that was a new one.
No.
Victor, what's wrong with you?
Why did you have to bring this news?
Well, it is my job, but I assure you, Victor, I had no idea you would react this way.
My son is under a doctor's care. He is not himself. Please forgive him.
Get out.
Victor, get a hold of yourself!
Get out, I say!
I shall see you to the door.
Well, thank you, Frau Frankenstein.
Ernst, might I have the cross?
I'm afraid not. Evidence.
I understand.
When the case is closed, I'll see that it's returned.
Thank you.
Was that necessary? If you go on this way, there's nothing ahead but disaster for you. You've got to take the doctor's advice.
Did you believe him?
Who, the doctor?
No, not the doctor. Ernst. What he said about the girl's story.
I have not a reason not to believe him.
Stitched together like a rag doll?
The girl was lying.
Was she?
It was as simple as that. A lie. Nothing more.
Oh, I assure you, even simplicity can become something twisted and evil. Today's exhilaration can fade quickly into tomorrow's grief.
Can't you say a single sentence without decorating it with crepe?
The girl was not lying.
Be reasonable.
Oh, don't patronize me. I tell you the girl spoke the truth.
I will not stand here and listen to this rage.
Wait, Henry, please come back in. Henry, if our friendship means anything to you, I ask you to stay. I plead with you to stay.
On one condition.
What is that?
The Victor Frankenstein, who left the chateau for the university, was not the same man who returned here for sanctuary, as you call it. Something happened to him during that time he was gone. I want to know what it was, and unless you are prepared to tell me of your affliction,
Yes, I intend to. I want to. I must. Henry, you are my last hope. What I'm going to tell you will chill the marrow of your mortal bones.
Let me be the judge of whether or not my mortal bones will freeze.
If I appear crazed, half-mad, unsettled, there is a reason.
If you are referring to Ernst's visit, I can only tell you that it is unjust to blame the messenger for the message.
You think that's why I cried out?
What else am I to think?
The secret of my unrest lies there, in those documents and papers, the recorded crimes of Victor Frankenstein. You think that what happened began at the university? You're wrong. It began behind that laboratory door. As a boy, science, biology consumed me, as it did you, far more than the fever that now plagues my brain. I was further along in my studies than even you realized. The university merely stimulated me to press on into that secret that has baffled men's imaginations since they first sucked breath.
What secret?
I've often asked myself, From where did the principle of human life proceed?
A bold question.
Yes, but we are always on the brink of discovering something new or strange or bold. But our cowardice or our carelessness defeat us. We restrain our inquiries in fear of what we might discover. We fear the unknown, but we long to embrace it. I had one passion, and only one, to explore the causes of life. But to do that, I first had to have recourse with death.
Death.
I became acquainted with the science of anatomy in a way that was zealous, accelerated. I observed the natural decay and corruption of the human body.
In the dissecting room of the university, you mean?
No, I don't mean the dissecting room of the university.
What do you mean, then?
I mean that the charnel house became my haunt. I lived with the stench of decay in my nostrils. The church graveyard was no longer a holy place to me. It was instead merely the receptacle of bodies deprived of life.
I don't believe you.
Then you're a fool. I saw how the fine form of man was degraded and wasted. I beheld the corruption of death, and I studied until my senses no longer knew the hour, the day, the week. It was in the midst of that darkness that a light broke in upon me. A light so brilliant and wondrous, and yet so simple, that while I grew dizzy by the prospect of success, I was surprised that of all these men of genius, I alone, Victor Frankenstein, would be reserved to discover so astonishing a secret.
That again?
I asked for your friendship, not your skepticism.
You have both. Go on.
The stages of discovery were both distinct and probable. Other men could have discovered what I did, Albertus Magnus for one. But brilliant minds must be matched by boldness and imagination, not be earthbound by the improbable. So after days and nights of incredible labor and fatigue, I succeeded in discovering the causes and generation of life. I was capable of bestowing animation onto lifeless matter.
Victor, that's not possible.
You think not? Oh, then you too are earthbound. When I discovered so astonishing a power placed within my hands, I hesitated a long time before deciding how to employ it.
And how did you?
I began the creation of a human being.
You did what?
In a solitary chamber in the top of my rooming house, I kept a workshop of filthy creation.
But how could you create another human being?
With considerable determination and a strong stomach. The city morgue and the charity hospitals furnished my materials. From one I stole a hand. From another I purchased a leg. On dark nights, the graveyard proved particularly useful in direct proportion to the amount of energy I was willing to expend on opening a grave.
No more, Victor! Enough!
Oh, I became nervous to a frightful degree. The falling of a leaf would startle me. I shunned everyone as if I were guilty of a crime. I collected all of the instruments of life around the surgical table, and when I finally finished, I just slept across my cot, troubled by my dreams.
I should think so. And that was the end of your experiment?
If only it could have been. I dreamed I could see the grave worms crawling through my father's funeral shroud. Well, I started awake in horror, naturally, but then I beheld the life that I created staring down at me, arm outstretched as if imploring some aid. There. Now you know.
I
still don't understand.
What more is there?
Ernst Williams murdered the gypsy girl. Oh, think, Henry, think! It was my creature, stitched together from the bits and pieces of other men who murdered little William. Don't you see? He's found me. He's followed me here from Geneva.
But if what you say is true, why would he do that? Why would he murder William? Why would he hate you? You gave him life. No, 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 no. It's all too preposterous.
You must listen.
I've heard more than enough.
I'm not mad.
You will be if you continue this way.
Henry, I ask for your help. Don't desert me. Henry! Henry! Devil! Murderer! There. Do you still doubt me? Stitched together like a demon from hell, standing before you is the proof of my infamy.
God help you, Victor. Oh, God help us all.
Frankenstein, help me.
And to the best of your knowledge, you had no adverse reaction to the anesthetic?
No,
Ah. No paralysis of any kind?
no.
Let's see. The arms are perfect. The shoulders. Excellent. Excellent. I'm rather amazed about the eyelids, moist, lubricated by circulating the tears, and the cornea, clear and transparent. The membrane functions normally. Stand up, please. Now, run in place. No. Slowly. Ah, yes, that's very good. Excellent. You may be seated. Now, I would like to test the strength of your grip. Splendid. Now, I would say the end result is not yet cosmetically satisfactory, and there is a decided tendency towards hypothyroidism, but in all other aspects, you are remarkable. I thought if such an experiment succeeded, the conclusion would be a chronic invalid. I was wrong for doubting Victor.
Is that all I am?
What do you mean?
An experiment?
Oh, you're far more than an experiment, my strange friend. You are living proof that worn-out parts can be replaced. You offer hope for an extended lifespan.
I am a monster, a living thing that is dead. I am alone, lonely. All men shun Frankenstein's creation. And why shouldn't they, murderer?
Did you sleep at all?
I never sleep, not anymore. All I do is dream of horrors.
This is no horror. Whatever your surgical technique, you've opened a special field of surgical study.
If one's a sadistic vivisectionist,
He has mastery of locomotion. He has complete mastery of speech, deduction, and reasoning. His parts will not wear out.
a living machine.
Yes, if you will.
Beware, Henry. That excitement in your voice betrays you. You've caught my fever.
He has no extra fingers, no missing cartilage. Blood postulates through his veins as it does through yours and mine.
Blood of dead men.
You have engineered a finely tooled machine powered by an intricate work of muscles and tendons. The graphing is amateurish, repulsive, but yet it suffices.
You are forgetting something.
Oh, I shouldn't wonder.
There sits the hideous thing that has come to kill me.
That is no longer true.
I curse the day I gave you life.
I expected this reception. All men hate the wretched. How I must be hated then. I am miserable beyond all living things. I did not always hate you, Victor Frankenstein. The night you brought me to life, I rushed from your rooms believing that the world would welcome me. I thought myself no different than others. I watched you sleeping and saw no great dissimilarity between us.
That is disgusting.
No, it is not. You brought him into existence. It would be natural for him to think that you and he were both of a kind.
Both of a kind?
I am one of no kind, an outcast. Wherever I showed myself, people ran in terror and repulsion. I had no friend. In the winter, I froze sleeping in the hills. In the summer, I hid in the woods.
Did they hurt you in any way? Oh, physically, I mean.
Hunters came into the woods looking for game. I had never seen a gun or heard its sound. It frightened me and I ran, but they followed after. Then a great pain tore into me. I saw my own blood for the first time. It sickened me.
Did you hear that, Victor? He felt pain. He knows fear.
As I do. As you should. Get out of this house. Leave me.
Have I not suffered enough? Now you seek to increase my misery?
Is that why you've come here? To find a hiding place? Is that why you murdered a defenseless boy?
I did not murder him, Frankenstein. You did.
You dare say that to me?
Creatures such as I must dare. I saw a child coming towards me. As I gazed at him, I suddenly realized that this little creature had lived too short a time to understand the horror of deformity. If I could educate him before others imparted their prejudice, I should not be so desolate on this peopled earth. For of all curses, that is the one I loathe above all others.
But why murder?
I had no such intention. At first. I seized him as he passed by, and when he beheld my form, he placed his hands before his eyes, and he uttered a shrill cry. "Let me go!" he screamed. "Monster! Ugly wretch! Let me go, or I will tell Victor. He will punish you. Victor Frankenstein, my brother, will punish you." Poor William. I swelled with hellish triumph. I thought, I too can create desolation. My enemy is not invulnerable. This death will carry despair to him, and 1,000 other miseries shall torment and destroy him. Frankenstein will suffer, as I have suffered. Have you suffered, Frankenstein?
More than I would have thought possible.
Then I am satisfied. You have created me, but your work is not yet finished.
It is finished.
You have created me. You must destroy me.
What?
We're in accord.
At last. Then you'll do it?
Victor!
When?
Tonight.
Victor, I protest!
We can't risk having you seen. You'll be safe in here until I'm ready.
Remember this, Frankenstein. My agony is greater than yours.
You cannot be serious about his request.
But I am. That creature has brought me my salvation.
It would be murder.
You cannot murder a walking inventory of borrowed human parts.
That's absurd, and you know it.
Fine, call it something else then. Execution, balancing the scales, retribution, just not murder. There is already blood on my hands for having created him.
And you think by destroying him, you can wash away that blood. Is that it?
It is my only hope.
Then I appeal to you now, not as a dear friend, but as another who is dedicated to pushing back the barriers of ignorance.
Barriers? I crumbled one barrier, and look at the result.
I have looked. And what I have found is both a miracle and marvelous. This creature is not at fault. He was an innocent, thrusted into a world that has no place for the unordinary. He had every right to expect gentleness and understanding. Instead, he found out that mankind can often be very monstrous.
Look into the face of little William. You speak of an innocent. There's your innocent. My young brother.
Victor, I'm speaking to your intellect, not your emotion.
Damn your
And
intellect!
damn your emotion.
Victor! Victor!
Say nothing of this to anyone.
For the time being.
Return this evening. I'll need your help.
Victor! I shall not hear another word of this. If you will not come to the breakfast table, then you shall eat in the study. Henry, here so early.
I'm afraid I never left.
Look at this. I was hoping that you would help Victor rest. And it's just like when you were boys. Up all night with your studies and vile smelling test tubes. Will you stay for breakfast?
At the moment, sleep is more appealing than nourishment.
I shall be very angry with you if you encourage Victor in any work. It would be quite destructive.
Oh, I agree with you. Now, if you excuse me, it's a lovely day outside. I'll enjoy the walk home. I have a great many things to think about. Until later, Victor. Frau Frankenstein.
Victor, you should see your eyes. I can read every tiny vein in them.
I wish to be alone, Mother.
No, Victor, I haven't given you your ways and follies for far too long. Elizabeth is going to take you into the city today. She has shopping to do.
You think that interests me? Shopping?
No, actually, I think the shopping will bore you to death. But Elizabeth's company will be pleasant, won't it? Sophie, please put that on Victor's desk.
I'm not hungry.
I must insist that you allow Sophie in here to clean.
It's so dusty in here, Frankenstein. I haven't been in here for so long. It's not healthy to breathe dust.
Is that your medical opinion?
There is no need to be rude.
Mother, I have asked that you respect my wishes. Do not enter unless the door is unlocked.
And you allow Henry in and out of the garden at will.
That is another matter.
Neither Sophie, Elizabeth, or I have ever bothered you about your laboratory, although at times the odors have been unbearable. But others use the study. You're not being fair. Let Sophie clean.
If only all matters could be resolved to such elements. To go shopping, to eat a breakfast, to clean a room.
Sophie has a surprise for you.
Strawberries. First of the season, Frankenstein.
Leave the tray.
Bring the strawberries here, Sophie. Eat the strawberries, Victor.
Oh, that's good, Mother. So comforting. Strawberries? God.
Sorry I wasn't here a moment earlier. I like a good joke as much as the next.
It's not that at all. I was merely struck by the incongruity of my dark moods and Mother's magical dish of strawberries.
There's nothing wrong with the strawberries, sir. The grocer sold them to me. He's quite reliable. I've never had any complaints about his produce.
I'm sure you haven't. Thank you.
You're welcome. Come, Sophie, we'll leave them alone. Oh, and Victor, you will let Sophie into bed.
Yes, yes.
When, dear?
Soon.
I put the bud vase on the tray. Did you notice the petals?
No, I didn't. What are they?
There aren't any. There's not even a vase. I just wanted to see if you'd notice.
I have been insensitive, haven't I?
I understand. Nothing but salacious women who would bother you with trivialities and fresh strawberries.
Oh, Most men would find that an enviable condition.
I can't make up my mind about this veil. I thought we might take it back to the store and see what else they had.
Not a subtle hint.
Victor, listen to me. I don't pretend that I'm not bothered by your strange moods and temperaments. You're different from other men, yes, and perhaps it's the very quality that attracts me. We've grown up together, and I've always loved you. But I don't know what troubles you. You're so complex and difficult. I'm not blind to that, Victor. But don't close your heart to me. Don't keep your love from me.
I wish I could be honest.
I want to help you. I want to be with you in life. We were companions as children and will be companions now, only closer and dearer.
And you'll read to me, and cook for me, and stay with me when I'm alone and everyone else is turned against me?
Don't make light of such things, Victor. They count for something. I would do all of those things gladly.
And a wife truly is a wonderful thing.
Let me be wonderful for you, Victor. I've never loved anyone else, and I never shall. You'll never be alone. I promise you that.
Dear Elizabeth.
Come along. With the whole morning to ourselves, we'll go to the flower market.
My dark moods will soon be at an end. I promise you that, Elizabeth. For now, by all means, the flower market. Bronchial tubes then into the chest cavity. The tendons and the attached muscle tissues, the large veins into the muscular portion of the heart. Sever the arm, the leg. Complete reversal, transplantation. The spinal column will have to be compressed. No need to worry about the loss of blood to the brain tissue. Yes, yes!
Frankenstein.
It won't be long now. You'll soon have your wish. I'm just waiting for Henry. I'll need his assistance.
How will you do it?
I put you together piece by piece. Your entire anatomical structure is a patchwork of transplanted blood vessels, tissues, bones. I shall simply reverse the process. You will cease to exist piece by piece. But you needn't worry. I'll attack the brain first. You will feel nothing.
And the pieces?
Well, the disposal of the pieces isn't really the concern of the surgery, but if you must know...
Yes. Tell me.
Several options, really. Quicklime, acid, bitteril.
None of those.
You have something else in mind?
I will live.
No, you will not live. Once the surgery is finished, you will be erased from this earth.
I will live, Frankenstein.
What the devil do you mean?
I have a passion which you alone can gratify.
I have vowed to grant your request. Tonight your agony ends and my life begins anew.
No, Frankenstein. My life begins anew.
What are you saying?
We will not part until you grant me my wish.
You wish for more than death. end that misery.
Men will not associate with me, but what is deformed and horrible as myself will not deny yourself to me. I demand you make a creature similar to myself.
No such creature exists.
Then you must make her.
I thought you sought oblivion.
What I ask for is reasonable and moderate.
Reasonable!
I demand one of another sex, but is deformed as myself. I demand a bride from Frankenstein's creature.
You demand. You have no right to demand anything of me.
If you consent, neither you nor anyone else will ever see us again.
I will not listen to this.
My companion must be of the same species as myself, and I demand it of you as a right, which you must not refuse.
I do refuse!
Do not incite my anger.
I don't fear your anger, and no torture shall ever extort consent from me.
Is what I ask so difficult?
For me, it is an impossibility. You ask me to create another like yourself.
I do.
Two whose joint wickedness might desolate the world.
We will harm no living thing.
How did you come by this preposterous idea?
By listening to the one who loves you.
You were at the door while I spoke with Elizabeth.
Her words were gentle.
I have vowed to grant you death by the same hands that gave you life. Beyond that, I owe you nothing.
Reconsider.
Never!
You're wrong. Instead of threatening, I am content to reason with you.
You are malicious.
I am malicious because I am miserable. You, my creator, would tear me to pieces in triumph. Remember that. And why should I pity man more than he pities me? Shall I respect man while he condemns me? Let him live with me in the interchange of kindness, and instead of injury I would bestow every benefit upon him with tears of gratitude at his acceptance. Why cannot that be, Frankenstein?
Human sensibilities forbid it.
Do as I ask. If I cannot inspire, I will cause fear, and chiefly towards you, my enemy. Have a care. I will revenge my injuries so that you will curse the hour of your birth.
There, your true nature, threatening, dangerous, wicked. Your bride would be a monster too.
It is true we shall be monsters, cut off from the world. But on that account, we shall be more attached to one another.
What possible happiness could there be in your lives?
Our lives will not be happy, but they will be free of the misery, anger I now feel. My Creator, let me show gratitude to you for one benefit. Let me see that I excite the sympathy of some existing thing. I do not ask of you, Frankenstein. I beg of you.
There is some justice in your argument.
We will go from here to a forest or some jungle. My food is not that of man. Do not kill the animals to glut my appetite. Acorns and berries will sustain us.
The noble savage.
Do not mock me.
Oh, and do not tempt me.
We will make our bed of dried leaves. The sun will shine on us as on man. Pitiless as you have been towards me, I now see compassion in your eyes.
Why did you have to return?
I swear to you, by the earth in which I inhabit and by you that made me, with the companion you bestow, I will leave the neighborhood of man forever.
That is what you say now. But what guarantee have I that you'll not just return more demanding and stronger than ever before?
With another such as I, my anger and evil passions will have fled.
Because you will have a bride.
As I will have sympathy.
Forgive me for having created you.
It is too late for forgiveness. Grant me my wish. My life will flow quietly away. And in my dying moment, when that time comes, I shall not curse my Maker.
As your maker, perhaps. Perhaps I do owe you some measure of happiness.
We shall be things of whose existence everyone will be ignorant of. The love for another will destroy the cause of my crimes. Pity me, Frankenstein. Pity me.
solicit thee from the darkness to promote me.
You gave him life, Victor, and now you want to take it from him.
The creature has had second thoughts.
What do you mean?
Death is no longer to be its destination.
He wants to live?
More than that.
Surely, that is enough.
You don't understand.
I'm trying to.
He wants me to create a bride. Yes, a bride.
But he's more human than I realized.
A companion to share in his wretched loneliness.
But it's unthinkable.
Ha! Now Henry Clerval has second thoughts, and yet it was Henry Clerval who sought to dissuade me.
Dissuade you from destroying what was already in existence. I couldn't condone murder in any form. But the creation of a second creature is not the same at all.
Test your fire, Henry. Put your scientific zeal to the crucible. You've marveled at my genius. You've been swept up in this bold experiment. You held staunch while I wavered.
For the possibilities the experiment offered.
I can't do it alone. Another time would be impossible. I must have another with me. The creature has promised that they will live apart from humanity, quietly and without maliciousness.
And if you refuse,
and the creature becomes a hound of hell, I will be its prey. Henry, let us give this creature what it asks. I can't destroy it now. Its plea was too sincere, springing from its cursed heart.
I don't know.
I can compensate for the wickedness of the first by the creation of a gentler second.
Perhaps.
Help me, if not for the creature's wish, then for the experiment itself. You were amazed, fascinated. You alone among all men would know how the miracle is accomplished. Can you turn your back on that?
When would we begin? Oh, if I agree.
What better time than tonight? Henry, are you not dedicated to pushing back the barriers of ignorance?
Where are you going?
Where else? The church graveyard.
Graveyard?
It will be my warehouse of spare parts, my salvation, my absolution. I offer you a glimpse of the eternal. The choice is yours.
I accept.
Splendid. We'll get shovels from the greenhouse. Come on, Henry.
I'm not too late, am I?
I expected you an hour ago.
It couldn't be helped. Any difficulties?
Nothing beyond what we already know. I'll need to increase the voltage.
Oh, how is he behaving?
More like an expectant father than an expectant groom.
Understandable.
All he does is sit in the corner of the laboratory like a whipped dog, watching. If I touch a switch, his eyes flick to the spot.
I've noticed that.
If I rewire the apparatus, he takes careful note of how it's done.
A testimony to your extraordinary skills.
Now, a testimony to his craftiness. You've noticed his gift of mimicry? He watches you too, Henry. I noticed earlier he was being unusually quiet.
And
He was studying your notes.
my notes.
I would advise you to come up with some code system or other.
If you say so.
It's both touching and horrible to watch him. Every time I enter the laboratory, he's standing there by the surgical table.
He never touches anything.
But he knows every molecule of his bride-to-be. A day or so ago, I entered the laboratory unobserved and found him talking to the incomplete thing.
He never gives me a bit of trouble. Undoubtedly, he accepts me as some sort of apprentice, nothing more.
I wouldn't be too sure. You've always been his champion. He's not likely to forget that.
Victor, where would we be at this point in our lives if the creature you had created had been beautiful instead of ugly?
Don't mistake me for some kind of moral idiot.
Oh, you know I don't.
Leave speculation of that sort to philosophy. I don't want you to mistake my full names. There was a time once when I thought that a new species would bless me as its creator and source, that many excellent nations would owe their being to me.
In one case, at least, this may be true.
That monster is far from happy and nowhere near excellent.
But his bride may present a different story.
These experiments with the second creature intrigue you.
Beyond words. You know that. Why do you ask?
And you hold no animosity toward him.
None. And none to his bride.
Because you're a scientist.
Yes.
You wear your badge of scientific inquiry like a coat of arms, Henry. Take care it doesn't pierce.
Oh, I leave gloomy speculation to you, Victor. You're the master.
I suppose. Still, I can't forget easily. I remember when I first saw those eyes glaring down at me. I knew I had fallen from the autonomy of supreme artificer
To what?
to the terror of a child of Earth.
He's your responsibility. Accept that.
I ran from my responsibility once.
And surely you won't do it a second time. We've come too far for such thoughts. Besides, I look at the birth of an additional creature from a practical view.
Ha! What could be more impractical than the creation of a bride for a creature that shouldn't exist in the first place?
Oh, you'll cheer up when you see what I've brought. You don't give yourself enough credit. The safety methods that I've learned at your side will help thousands of people. There is a long list of diseases of vital organs of which a transplant would be curative.
I marvel at your ability to find merit in this enterprise.
And I marvel at your perpetual vaculation, your self-induced depressions. You love this creature and you hate him. You made your bargain. Now stick to it.
What have you there?
You'll see. Imagine the mercy in replacing a worn-out lung with one that is vital and functioning.
In other words, henceforth my evil will become my good?
Think of yourself less a modern Prometheus and more of a humanitarian.
Where did you get this one?
The city morgue. None of the other hands have been satisfactory.
Oh, they were satisfactory, but not fresh. Both qualities are essential.
Oh, I think this one will do quite nicely.
I'll have to see. Well, I can't be positive. The hands from the graveyard all showed signs of congenital defects. We must give her hands where the skin, the tendons, the muscles, the blood vessels, and the nerves would sustain sensation as well as motion. She couldn't have been dead for long. Oh, good, good.
She was young, a derelict.
You didn't have any problems.
The morgue keeper got his prize.
Still need to test for elasticity. Resilience of the skin, possibly missing part of the fingernail.
That's true, of course, but you know. Victor!
I told you to stay out of sight.
How much longer?
All in good time.
When?
When I say the time is right.
You must hurry.
Must. Is that a word you use with your creator?
Will you name her, or will he?
He can call it whatever he likes.
Remember, Frankenstein, I am your creature. I ought to be your Adam.
I see you more as a fallen angel.
We are doing as you requested.
What more can you want? Haste.
Victor!
Morning comes so quickly. Stay out of sight and hidden. Haste.
Victor!
Oh, I'll make a few more tests.
Henry. Henry. Take that with you.
Oh, careless of me.
Victor! I will never understand why you choose to sleep in the laboratory.
The cot is comfortable.
I don't even know why I bothered to be concerned. You ignore my advice in all things.
I'm preoccupied. Is that so difficult to understand?
When you came from Ingolstadt, you were exhausted.
I was.
And now?
I still am. It's just an exhaustion of a different sort.
Rubbish. What does that mean, an exhaustion of a different sort?
I just want to be left alone with my work, Mother.
And what is that work, Victor?
Why do you ask?
Can't I be curious? You're curious and cautious. You act as if you're afraid someone will discover a secret about you.
Nonsense.
Nonsense. Delivery men at the door day and night bringing boxes of who knows what. Henry Clavell creeping through the garden at all hours. You don't think I don't worry about this? The sounds? The lights? What do you have hidden behind these doors, Victor?
Nothing that could possibly interest you.
Let me be the judge.
No, Mother. Please, just come. Just sit, please.
There is something very, very wrong.
Nothing to be concerned about. You know how I am about my work.
Victor, I worry about you. You are the man of this household, but I feel you moving farther and farther away from me. I don't talk much about your brother. I try not to. It was a terrible sorrow when we lost your father. But I had William, and I had my Victor. And now William has been cruelly taken away from me. You are the only flesh and blood that I have left. Take care not to break my heart, for I couldn't bear to lose you after William.
I'm sorry for any pain that I've caused.
You seem so unsettled, angry. Elizabeth worries about you. She's in love with you, Victor. Why don't you marry her?
I love Elizabeth tenderly and sincerely.
Well, then prove it. Why do you delay?
No one has ever excited my warmest admiration and affection the way Elizabeth does.
And one could say the same thing about a piece of porcelain.
I mean my words.
Victor, I must confess that I've always looked forward to your marriage. It will be my strength during my declining years.
Declining years? You're still a young woman.
You and Elizabeth were attached at an early age. You studied together, and you've always seemed well suited to each other.
What are you trying to say?
I fear, perhaps, that you look upon her more as a sister than ever wishing to be your wife. That's what I fear. That and what hides behind that door. Or perhaps there's someone else you found in whom you love. Perhaps that you feel honor bound to marry Elizabeth, and this causes you pain.
Mother, I vow to you, all of my future hopes are entirely bound up with Elizabeth.
Well, if that's the case, then marry quickly, and This sullenness which seems to have taken hold of you will disappear.
Oh, Victor won't do after all. It bruises too easily. Oh, forgive me, Frau Frankenstein.
What do you have in that wrapping paper?
Oh, it's just an idle experiment.
With bruises?
Oh, it would be of no interest.
Then perhaps you and I should go into town together and exchange it for one more suitable.
Oh, yes, that's very good. I'll go get my coat.
Might as well, please.
If you're going shopping, take Elizabeth. I'm sure she'd enjoy the walk.
This is not a shopping trip. At least not the kind Elizabeth would appreciate.
You say so, Victor.
Trust me.
I try.
Oh, thank you. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Then we're off.
Will you be back for lunch?
It depends on our trip into town.
You are the despair of Sophie.
And of you, and of Elizabeth, and of Henry, and myself, I know. I promise you, soon all this will pass. Well, you should.
I thought I'd find Victor in here.
He and Henry went into town to exchange something.
What?
When it comes to Victor and Henry's experiments, I don't think it's very good to investigate too closely. Many years ago, I went into that room. I was met by a small army of leaping frogs, and there were small, peculiar things in cages. I have never been back since.
It does sound like Victor. Even when I look, you found him very unique. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking.
It's all right. It happens all the time, especially when I'm alone. Oh, Sophie, would you please go into the cellar?
The cellar?
Yes. On my husband's workbench, there's a box. Please bring it to me.
Yes, Frau Frankenstein.
She doesn't like going into the cellar. She's afraid of spiders.
Germophobia.
Elizabeth, you know how I feel about you. When my late husband and I took you into our home, you were a beautiful child, unwanted and unloved.
Not unloved. You took me to your arms.
And I know without a shadow of a doubt that you love Victor.
Of course.
You are good, you are kind, and you're understanding.
You make such virtues sound like liabilities.
I don't mean to. It's just that I feel there's a real danger in being sisterly.
You think Victor looks upon me as a sister?
I believe he will continue to do so unless you give him greater cause to look upon you as a wife. You need to be more aggressive. Unlike most women, you'll be competing with science. And with Victor, science is a formidable rival.
If my rival is to be science, I fear I'll always come in second best.
You understand Victor, as I do. But understanding Victor is not enough. You need to set your mind on your marriage and let nothing stop you. Don't wait for Victor to see his folly. Do what I say. Quick, decisive, total victory.
You should have been a matchmaker.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Now, go. Run if you have to. And if they suggest that you're intruding, intrude.
But Victor will want to be about his business.
Elizabeth, make you his business. Now do as I say.
But I never forced myself on Victor.
Exactly. Remember? Quick, decisive.
Total victory?
Bravo! Now go. They can't have gone too far.
Is this what you wanted?
Yes, Sophie.
It's awfully dusty.
Please close the garden door and draw the drapes.
The delivery men were here again. There's a package in the hallway addressed to your son.
Who is it from now?
Some chemist's shop in Zurich. It's glass tubing, I think.
You may go now. I'll call you if I need you.
Are you all right, Frau Frankenstein?
Yes, I am. Now, go do as I say. Go
bear the thought of going through that again with anyone. I'd rather remember Frau Frankenstein the way she was.
I understand. You found her here?
Yes, I heard her call for me, and when I came in, she was sprawled out over the floor, her hand over her heart, her face the color of ash.
I was unaware that she had a weak heart.
But so was everyone else. She never was a complainer.
A spine like whalebone. She stood up like a Prussian during that terrible business with little William.
In front of people, yes. She cried herself to sleep many nights, though.
Still, the attack came on suddenly, did it?
She asked me to get some keys from the cellar.
Keys.
She wanted them for something. When I came in, I found them on the floor.
And what became of them?
Herr Frankenstein took them, I think.
At strange times. Would you believe that we have ghouls at work?
Ghouls? What kind of ghouls?
How many kinds are there? We've had a number of graves broken into recently.
That's horrible. Stealing jewelry, I suppose.
Yeah, that I could understand. No, these ghouls didn't steal any jewelry.
What did they take?
Well, in one case, they took a foot. And I bet Victor took the death of his mother hard. Are you okay?
I will be.
Oh, I didn't mean for my story to upset you.
Herr Frankenstein's barely spoken a word in 2 days. He and Eric Clerval work so hard.
Work?
The laboratory.
And what is the project?
Oh, I wouldn't know. It's the one room in the chateau that belongs to Herr Frankenstein alone. No one is allowed in there. I don't know how they managed to get all that machinery in there.
Machinery? What kind of machinery?
Wires and rods and electrical bulbs, things like that.
And you say they're secretive about what they're doing.
Yes, when he's at his work, he's like a machine himself.
Still, it can't do his health any good. It's odd. This door seems to be locked from the outside.
He refuses to take care of himself. Eats almost nothing.
Last time I saw him, I had the impression he was on the verge of a breakdown. He seemed exhausted.
That hasn't changed, I'm afraid.
Oh, it's been a bitter Caesar for Victor Frankenstein. The murder of his brother, the sudden loss of his mother. You know, I was rather fond of Victor's mother. She was quite a woman.
Yes.
You're here, Inspector.
Allow me to extend my deepest sympathies to you, Fraulein, and to you, Victor.
Shall I make some tea?
That would be lovely, Sophie. It's so chilly in here.
I'll make some biscuits too.
And you might take the umbrellas into the kitchen to dry them. Your mother never liked to dry the umbrellas in the hallway.
Poor Frau Frankenstein. I'm sorry, I can't believe she's gone.
None of us can. Now, pull yourself together and go into the kitchen.
Yes, Fraulein. Tea won't be long.
She's taking it so hard. Sophie was so devoted. I know how she feels. I just can't believe it. Alive and vibrant one moment and gone the next.
Sudden heart failure, not uncommon.
Leave the medical reasons to you, Henry. There's no comfort in them for me. I shall remember her as she was. The kindest, sweetest, dearest woman that I've ever known.
I shall need your strength, Elizabeth.
You shall have it. Your mother's memory sustains me.
This is most kind of you, Ernst, to stop by.
Well, actually, I'm here for 2 reasons.
2?
Well, the first, you know, my sympathies.
Yes, yes.
And the second,
Well,
the girl.
what girl?
Justine?
You don't mean the gypsy girl?
I do.
What about her?
Well, normally I would deny her request, but we had to transport her to prison today, and we came right by here, so I thought it was...
You thought what?
Victor, she begs to speak with you. She's scheduled to be hanged within the week. I thought it would be a last request.
You want me to see her in here?
That's outrageous.
Well, you could come to the prison, but that's a pretty forbidding place. I thought this would be more convenient.
not wish to see this girl in his home, or to visit her in prison. And you come because of a request on this day of all days?
If I've offended, forgive me. I shall, of course, continue on with my journey without further interruption.
Why does she want to see me?
I don't know, Victor, but she's asked for this meeting many times.
I'll see her.
Victor,
Do you think that's wise?
I will see the girl.
I protest. I absolutely protest.
She's an interesting case.
You're most interesting, I imagine.
Not really. We have had a rash of grave robbing lately.
Oh,
Oh, I've done it again. I'm not really what you would call a sensitive man.
Do you expect an argument on that point?
I've got the wagon on the side. I'll bring her myself. Would it be all right if I go through the garden?
What?
The garden. Would that be okay?
Certainly.
The Inspector General is allowed.
he means well.
He has no right to bring her here.
He's only trying to do his duty.
Duty!
Henry, what's come over you?
I'm upset. Please forgive my outburst.
Shouting won't help any of us.
It's not wise for you to see this girl.
I want to see her.
Then you'll excuse me, Victor.
Oh, of course. You better lie down and try and rest.
I will try.
It's madness for you to see this girl.
Poor thing.
She's a bad sort. Ernst said so himself.
I was referring to Elizabeth. When no one is looking, that's when she cries. It's just like my mother. I know her so well, Henry. That's why she's gone to her room.
She's gone to her room to avoid seeing this Justine.
Did you notice her at the funeral? Standing straight, strong, as if telling my mother she was here to carry on and to rest easy.
You know, you've taken this all remarkably well.
Have I?
I admire you for it.
You think because I haven't cried that I felt nothing?
I didn't mean to imply that.
These unseen tears are feelings of anger, Henry. Birth, life, death, all stitched together without a seam. If that thing had never been born, my mother would be here with us now.
Oh, not that again.
Who's responsible? I am, Henry. I am.
What could have ever possessed her into going into the laboratory?
Curiosity. A desire to discover. We above all should understand that. Can she ever forgive me?
I'm sure she does.
And that monster, that devil, what does he think about? My pain? No. He thinks only of his bride. He tells me the sooner she is ready, the sooner I am out of your life. Work faster and avoid future misfortune.
Perhaps we should heed those words.
He cares no more about my mother's death than I would care about a dying flea. He's a thing of stone.
He's right. The sooner our work is finished, the sooner all of this will end.
I wonder at you, Henry, more and more. From your honest scientific inquiry has come a mirror image of myself. Do you not fear him now?
I
You do still fear him.
Come on. No trouble, no tricks. Say what you have to say and be quick.
I was afraid you wouldn't see me. You must believe me here, Frankenstein. No one else will. That is why I come here. I wanted to speak to your mother, but they tell me she too is dead. And for that I am sorry. And sorry again.
I am not Herr Frankenstein. That is he.
No one will believe my story.
And if I did,
Please, sir, do not make fun of me.
I assure
said nothing.
No, nothing. Once I had the cross in my hand, he turned around and ran back into the woods.
And your first impulse was to strike camp, go to the city, and sell the gold cross.
Let her tell it in her own words, Inspector General.
I wanted no part of that cross.
But you could have thrown it away.
And there's no profit in that. Oh, sorry.
You're certain he said nothing to you?
I am, sir.
He made no attempt to harm you. That's correct, isn't it?
Then you do believe me.
Her kind knows how to play with one's emotions here, Clavel. Come on, you've had your say, let's go.
Wait. When will you act?
I'm afraid I have only a few more days to live. There's no hope for me. The insides of jails and prisons aren't familiar to me, sir. I've known them ever since I can remember. I was born in prison. My mother died in one.
That's bad blood.
My blood is as good as yours, and better than most.
Hey, watch your mouth.
I've come here knowing my life is to be a short one. But as wicked as some may think I am, and I won't deny, I've done things I'm ashamed of. I have some decency. But before my maker in heaven, and before you, Victor Frankenstein, I swear I'm innocent. Look into my face, into my eyes, into my soul, and tell me if what you see is murder.
Into your face? Into your eyes? Into your soul? What do I see? Yes. I see murder. Murder.
Please get her out of here!
Come on, come
Someone
on.
must believe
That's
me.
what I get for being a
Please,
softie.
Henry.
Leave these men to their business.
Please, I'm innocent. I'm innocent.
Are you all right?
Do you still not see the ugliness of it? The cruel shame. Now that girl will hang because creature.
Circumstances.
She cried mercy, begging for her life. So did he. His word has come back to haunt me.
My notes are almost complete. Let's move quickly, without thinking, pushed on by the knowledge that some good will come out of all of this.
You would still let him go? Escape?
I trust his word. I have no reason to doubt it.
Knowing him to be destructive and wrathful.
Just because man has made him so, let them find whatever Eden may have them.
No.
What?
I said no.
What do you mean?
You don't know him as I do. Haven't lived with him as I have. Sensing his moods, his unspoken questions. Knowing, always knowing if he were ever to gain the upper hand, he would not hesitate to use it. Listening at the door again.
Yes,
Did you hear the girl?
I remember her.
Now another will die because of you.
You had only to point to your laboratory, and the girl would have gone free. I remained quiet, but so did you.
Victor, when our work is finished, we'll see what can be done about the girl.
What can be done?
I don't know. We'll think of something.
So easy. Simple. We'll think of something. And if we don't,
I suggest we continue with our work.
I no longer have the strength. I suggest you seek happiness and tranquility, Henry. Avoid ambition.
You have no right to say that, Victor. Just because you've been blasted in your hopes doesn't mean another may not succeed.
I will not continue.
I can make you so wretched that the light of day will be hateful to you.
You've already succeeded in that.
You are my creator, but I am your master.
Never.
Return to the laboratory.
No.
Continue the work.
I refuse.
You will not deny me my bride.
There, Henry, did you hear it? The tone in his voice? Low, threatening, dangerous. Your victim can become your victimizer very quickly. Oh, he's sly and clever and quick. But when the winds turn against him, how quickly the devil in the monster shines out.
Keep your vow. Create for me a bride. Shall each man find a wife for his bosom and each beast have his mate? And I be alone? Are you to be happy while I grovel in despair?
Happy? How can I be happy? How can I be content when all the horror of my misguided zeal stands before me, threatening and evil?
Victor, calm down, both of you.
Silence! You may blast my other passions, but take care. Revenge will remain.
So be it.
Victor? Victor, where are you going?
What are you doing, Frankenstein?
Victor, let me in!
What are you
Let
doing?
me in! No, let me talk to
I will
him.
kill
Let
you,
me persuade him, please!
Out of my way! Open the door, Frankenstein! No. Wife. Companion. Friend. No! No!
Finished. Ended.
For that, you will pay even more.
Do not poison the air with your malice.
You will pay.
Leave me. Henry. Dead. Henry, too.
I go, Frankenstein. But remember, I will be with you on your wedding night.
I will be with you on your wedding night. On your wedding night.
If only you would confide in me earlier.
I was afraid,
What I would think?
and of what you would say, and 1,000 other things, but most of all that you would judge me mad.
Torture that must have been for you.
You can never know.
Poor darling.
Don't waste sympathy on me. If I'd been content to search for the Philosopher's Stone or the elixir of life, our wedding day wouldn't be like this.
He hates you so much that he would kill you on this night of all nights?
What better time to kill his maker? I denied him his bride, and now he will deny me my life.
It will never come to pass.
I wish I could believe that.
You must. I believe it, and so must you.
Elizabeth, I am truly blessed. If only this horrid vision of his return could be wiped away.
Do you recall the Ancient Mariner?
Coleridge. We read it one summer.
Yes. like one who on a lonely road doth walk in fear and dread, and having once turned round walks on, and turns no more on his head.
Because he knows a frightful fiend doth close behind him tread. Ernst has the chateau surrounded.
And you're safe.
Perhaps.
They'll see him if he comes too close.
Hope so.
Victor, you must never lie to me and never keep anything from me ever again.
If I live through this night.
Never say that again.
Do you realize, if this monster succeeds in killing me, he will have destroyed the house of Frankenstein?
I assure you, Victor, the creature will not elude my net. I have a dozen men staked around the chateau with shotguns that could bring down a charging rhinoceros.
You don't know. He is brilliant in his strategies.
I like to pride myself that I have considerable skills in that area.
Then there's nothing to fear.
The moment the creature is spotted, an alarm will sound. And then it'll be a matter of seconds before I bring the beast to his knees.
Maybe he won't show.
Oh, we've thought of that. It'd be better for him if he didn't, but for me, I'd not want to see that. It's going to be giving me considerable pleasures to either destroy the creature or chain him to the walls of a madhouse. An asylum for the criminally insane.
And what about the gypsy girl?
Oh, well, we haven't let her go yet. There's no telling what story she might tell. Don't want to unduly alarm the citizenry.
But she will go free.
All in good time.
See, Victor, it'll all be just fine.
Now, you must stay inside. Do not venture outside under any circumstances. I must insist on that.
Oh, you have our word.
Can I get you anything, Frau Frankenstein?
Frankenstein. How odd that sounds, my married name. No, Sophie. Well, perhaps you could draw the drapes. It's rather chilly in here.
Would you like a fire?
The drapes will be fine, thank you.
I was thinking something rather terrible. But now I feel it may have ended for the better.
You were thinking of Henry.
Yes. Only death could have stopped his quest. I infected him surely as if I'd injected him with some strange forbidden venom. Once he tasted what I had savored, his doom was sealed.
I shan't listen to any more of this. We'll get through the night, and in the morning we'll make plans for travel. Greece will be lovely this time of year, or maybe Italy.
There are some things I must do first.
When?
Tonight, in the laboratory.
You can't be serious.
I've got so much to destroy. The lighting panels, the rest of the equipment, the generators, and these. Most of all, these journals and notes.
But must you do it now?
You've nothing to fear. Just come with me into the laboratory.
No. I shall never go in there. I shall seal the room off forever, wall it up, or tear it out.
Sophie,
Yes, sir?
go into the garden and ask one of the guards to come stay with my wife.
You want me to go out there?
I'll be quite all right.
Sophie, do as I ask.
Yes, sir.
Once these have gone up in flames, I will have made some amends for my sins.
Then it should be a private act. Do it quickly, Victor. Hurry back to me. Sophie? You're holding yourself, Elizabeth. Nothing to fear. Victor? Victor, is that you? Who's there? Ernst? Throw something away! Victor!
There's a better way to make Victor Frankenstein. You, the bride of my maker, shall die in this place.
Victor! Victor is here!
I never left this house. We lived
live knowing what my life would be like. Elizabeth, forgive me.
I'm all right. I'm all right.
He is as crafty, quick-witted as ever. I should have realized what he had planned. Here, drink this. Finish it. More?
They're after him!
Did you see him?
Only as he ran past me. Who is he? No
What?
one will tell me a thing.
What path did he take?
Oh, the one towards the water, the lake.
Go fetch some smelling salts.
I don't need them.
Not for you, for my wife!
Yes, sir, right away, sir.
Elizabeth, why didn't you cry out?
I did over and over. The laboratory doors were bolted shut and the machinery was so loud.
You'll never hear that sound in this house again. I've destroyed all of the equipment, all of the notes. All that remains are the memories. Well,
He ran into the lake.
then he's dead.
Nothing could have survived my fusillade.
Did you see him fall or go beneath the water?
He was stumbling, mortally wounded. My men will drag the lake for his body. You can rest easy, Victor. Elizabeth, the creature is no more. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must go enjoy my mat.
Of course. The work of my hands is finished. I've destroyed what I created. Full circle.
Come along.
I could almost feel some compassion for him.
I feel it too.
He was
Finally over.
I wonder. Frankenstein.